Welcome back to Blast the Process 3 on ESA, benefiting Save the Children. I am your host, Kick-Ass Pancakes, and with me is Mr. Maximus.
Hello.
What do you got here for us?
Yo, I'm super excited. I'm really excited. So thanks to all the BTP organizers and stuff, and I'm really excited to showcase Boogerman today. It's one of my favorite games. Came out in '94, and I got it on release. And the funny story about this game is that I asked my dad if I could get this game, or I'm sorry, I asked my mom first, and she said no. And I asked my dad, and he said, "What did your mom say?" And I said, "She said yes." And that's how I got this game, and it's been like my favorite game for like the longest time. So.
All right. Well, yep. Do your countdown whenever you're ready, and good luck to you.
All right. Sounds good. I guess you can start the timer whenever. I generally start it when Boogerman's butt hits the grass in the first level. So if the timer is ready for me to just say go when he hits the floor, I guess that's good enough. So here's a little backstory on the game. First of all, it's a dark and stormy night at Professor Stinkbomb's lab, where a machine has been built to protect the world from pollution by trans-existing it to dimension excrement. Eccentric millionaire Snotty Ragsdale has taken a job at the lab to investigate its safety and find out exactly where the pollution is going, and he has a bad feeling about this latest contraption, and on this night his suspicions will come true. So we're going to see a little bit of background here. Snotty Ragsdale plays kind of the Batman-esque character because, he's a millionaire, but he's also a superhero. So he's going to be in here dusting, but he has allergies, and he actually opens the portal to Dimension Excrement and has the plutonium rod stolen by Boogermeister. So we're gonna be ready to go here. This is your general kind of platformer. So the timer's gonna start right now. And basically, a lot of the strategies in this game involve multiple bounce chains and doing extra damage through atomic butt blasts and super burps. So I'm pretty excited about that. This first level, the game actually has 5 separate sub-levels. Each one has four levels and then a boss. So this is Flatulent Swamps. And this is just going to kind of test our ability to be able to jump and fling boogers throughout the entire thing. So another thing you'll notice throughout the game is there's these plungers. I'm going to try to avoid as many of them as I can, only because if you get 10 or more, Boogerman actually does an extra cutscene where he tries to build a ladder out of plungers to get an extra life. And it actually wastes 3 or 4 seconds per level. But some of them are unavoidable. Like, this level's giving me the business right now on on some plumbers, or on some plungers. So another thing that I find actually really interesting about this game is that with the controller, it makes it really easy to roll your thumb. So what I mean by that is the buttons for jump and booger throw are really close together. So you'll see a lot of times I will roll my thumb over the jump and booger throw, so I can throw as soon as I jump up in the air. So it helps out a lot on later levels. The other thing is, in Flatulent Swamps, one of the cool parts is that all the levels are tiered. So there's multiple ways to get to the ending, but a lot of them involve going straight upwards instead of just to the side. Also, Pancakes, I hope you enjoy my latex chin here.
That's my favorite part.
As well as chat. I put together this costume 2 hours before the run, or 2 hours before I started streaming a little bit earlier for practice. And it's actually the bald portion of an old man Halloween costume that I had like 2 years ago. Just cut it out of the mask and taped it to my face.
The best part of the costume really is what it says on your hat.
Oh, I was very excited to hear, that it was going to be on the ESA Marathon channel. I stream for charities a lot on my own personal channel, so knowing that it was going to be, for charity and it's going to be for Save the Children. It's funny because I was going to wear a bald cap, but I couldn't find one at the store. And I was like, I'm pretty sure at TwitchCon I got myself a Save the Children hat. I gotta find it, and I found it, and I was just like super duper excited. So again, if you don't know about the whole Save the Children charity, it is an awesome charity. I'm sure someone's posted the link or something to it in chat. Definitely make sure to go check it out. They do a lot of good work for the kids, and yeah, so we're super close to that $1,000 mark too. So we were talking about a joke incentive, but maybe we can make it a reality. I think Pancakes knows what I'm talking about because we were laughing about it earlier.
Hey, that's your webcam, not mine.
That's true. Live on stream booger pick and flick at the webcam. Oh, Lord. I feel like there's probably some memers in chat that would be like, oh, the cringe value is just too real. Too real. So we're coming up on our first boss here. This boss is named Hickboy. Interesting thing in Boogerman is that all the bosses have like 3 main attacks and iframes associated with what their character is doing. So this guy can throw his chicken. He can also, have the chicken shoot eggs at you, and he flies across the screen. His iframes are going to be when he's not holding his chicken. So you can't actually hurt him until he's holding his chicken again. And there we go. So we take him down using Atomic Butt Blast and Super Burps because they do double damage, as opposed to the Booger Throws. Alright, moving on to our next level, the Pits, which introduces us to environmental damage. There's a couple instances in these levels where the environment can actually hurt you quite a bit. It also introduces us more to the trampoline mechanic and just trying to hit a bunch of trampoline jumps. Again, like most platformers, like the game, inadvertently, the longer you hold the jump button, the higher you jump and the further you jump. So knowing how long to hold it to be able to chain jumps together it becomes very, very important in some of these later levels. I'm hoping that I'll be able to showcase some really, really long chain jumps. It doesn't actually save any time, but they look cool. Ooh, that was mean. I tried to buffer a booger throw, and he hit me anyway. What a jerk. Ah! No! All of this is fine. What is the go-to phrase? Oh, that's never happened to me before. There you go.
Focal Point UK, this is called Boogerman. A pick and flick adventure.
This game also came out on the SNES, surprisingly enough. The interesting thing is that the SNES run is actually quicker. Mainly because the bosses are the same, but the levels are entirely different. So out of the 25 levels in the any percent run, 20 of the levels are different between the SNES version and the Sega version. And the Sega version's better, so.
Of course it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Genesis does what Nintendo don't, man.
It sure does.
Another fun fact about this game and like the enemy spawn rate is that the enemies don't generally spawn until you scroll over into their frame of reference. So they actually have a location tracker for when to spawn certain enemies, and it makes for some really fun tricks later on in terms of despawning different enemies throughout the run. So. Especially on some of those, y'all saw some of the earlier guys, the big guys that pop. I call those Zitmen, and they do splash damage. So even after they die, they're the pus that they excrete by exploding can actually still hurt you. All right, moving on to our second boss. If anyone's also wondering about the health mechanic and how it works, you actually only get 2 base hits as Boogerman before death. And the health bar is actually told by the color of his cape. So if he has a red cape, you have 2 hits. If he has a yellow cape, you have 1 hit left. And if he has a flashing cape between yellow and red, you have 3 hits. And that's the maximum that you can get. So Revolta here, her 3 attacks are to burp thunderclouds, throw copies of her face, and a pogo stick around the map. And her iframes are when she's not wearing her face cloth. So she has to have her face cloth on, otherwise she can't be hit. And the reason why she's down here, she has the best death animation of all the bosses. The reason why she's down here in the sewers is that apparently she's so ugly that no one else in Dimension Excrement wants to look at her. So it's unfortunate because she actually doesn't look that bad. But she sees a copy of her own face and passes out from the apparent ugliness. Which is why it's just my favorite boss kill animation, for sure. So welcome to the Piece de Resistance, actually actual Boogerville, where people live in Dimension Excrement. This level teaches us a lot about vine grabbing. So this is one of the platformers where you do have to have an input for vine grabs. So generally you hit up, and Boogerman will grab the vines here. My community likes to call them snot ropes instead of vines. I've always called them vines. We're also going to see the importance of chain jumps, just like on those 2 nose goblins there. The chain jump actually leads us perfectly into a good setup to get past that wooden platform. Alright, so I'm going to jump over this trampoline, and it's going to look like it was for nothing, but generally up on this wooden platform is a Zitman. And if you jump over that trampoline, it actually despawns the Zitman, so you don't have to deal with them up top, which is great. And we got flashing cape. So we got 3 hits, which is pretty good. Also, this run is no item use. What I mean by no item use is like no use of chili peppers or milk. Interesting enough, they basically increase your attack power by 1. So a chili pepper will turn your burps and farts on fire, and it will turn your atomic butt blast and super burps into 3 damage attacks instead of 2. Which is pretty cool. The milk changes your boogers into loogies, and that also increases the boogers from a single damage point to 2 damage points. In addition, the chili pepper gives you the ability to fly for a short time. Of course, you fly by farting a lot. So,
I mean, of course. How would you fly any other way in Boogerman?
I mean, I don't know. I really don't. Considering, again, like, Boogerman's kind of that Batman-esque character that has the doesn't really have major superpowers, except he is constantly flatulent. So, and if y'all haven't seen the actual Boogerman advertisement from the 90s, please Google that, YouTube it. It is a live-action commercial for Boogerman, and it's fantastic. Yeah, so we're losing a little bit of time ever so often because of the fact that I can't dodge a lot of these plungers here. Coming up in actually one of these levels here pretty soon as well is a really cool way to give yourself iframes. I think it's not in this level, I think it's in the next one, but during Boogerman's like actual flick animation, when he's flicking the booger, when he's on the reel back with his arm, he actually has iframes. So we're gonna use that to dodge some environmental damage in an upcoming area. Because there's nose goblins and windows that drop boogers on you. So we're gonna use that to be able to avoid that that booger drop. It actually might be... Oh no, it's not here. It's definitely in the next level. So we're gonna kill those guys.
Do we have time for a donation real quick?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Alright. We have $39 from Tarn33 with the comment, "This game is R-A-D, all caps."
Oh, rad! Yo, Tarn, thanks for the dono, man. appreciate you. Also, that 39, does that get us to an even number? I feel like it does.
That gives us to 800 even.
Nice! I was like, Tarn's a really good friend. I'm like, I know he donates to get to even numbers. Here's
you know your friend very well.
Here's the actual iframe thing that I'm talking about. So I'm going to wait for him to drop it, and then I'm going to reel back. It's really subtle, but as you notice, I didn't take any damage from the booger drop. Oh, Lord. I'm hitting too many fun guys that are hanging out on the floor. Life of the party over here. Rad! Cool! I mean, I don't know about everyone else, but I am a huge fan of 90s lingo. So, this game is just like, the lingo itself is just perfect. So, Pancakes, what was your favorite trend from the 90s? Trend! Not lingo or anything, but trend.
You know, I was born in '89, so
same.
A lot of the, okay, so we're on the same boat here. So, like, a lot of the stuff that was going on in the '90s that people talk about now, I was too young to get at the time.
Yeah, true.
Trend.
I'm personally a fan of creepy Furbies. Yeah, those are pretty cool.
Creepy Furbies. Dude, what about those super soakers that can tear your skin off?
Oh, I also remember those. Oh, man. I messed up a strat here on Flyboy, but I'm going to try to get it back. So you can actually manipulate the environment here. And, like, somewhat go into the brown area and cause a chain jump on Flyboy's head. Which, you know, as long as you're jumping on his head when he doesn't have iframes, you can continually damage him. It's just a weird boss mechanic for Flyboy, is that as soon as you go behind him, he thinks that you're on the other side of the screen. So you have the ability to fly with him and get all those extra hits in. Alright, so I said Furbies. I still want to know what your favorite trend was, though.
You know, I said the Super Soakers.
Oh yeah, Super Soakers, you're right.
Dude, it's been a long time. Sorry, I'm not ready for questions right now.
Oh, rip. I'm the one who asked the questions here.
Pogs? Do you remember Pogs?
Oh, Pogs!
Late in the 90s Pokemon cards.
I actually do remember Pogs. Speaking of Pogs, Tarn33 is actually the king of Pogs.
Really?
Yes. One of the fondest memories of Tarn that I have is that at TwitchCon, instead of business cards or anything that he handed out slammers.
What?
Like old school slammers. I was like, yo, this man's a beast. So, interesting about this set of 4 sublevels is that two things. There's a lot of danger in this run here because interestingly enough, those platforms I just jumped on a second ago have the smallest hitboxes in the game, besides the nose, the singular boogers that fall out. If you don't land perfectly on those platforms, you can slip and fall. And if you slip and fall off the platforms, the downside of this run is that the slime or the snot lake that's underneath is, it takes away a life immediately when you hit it, but it also takes away a life when you respawn into the game. You only have 3 lives, so if you fall into that snot water, that's 2 lives out of 3 gone in like an instant, in a single death. But the other thing that's interesting about this is that in these 4 levels, they're split into 2 sets of sub-levels. So we've got Mucus Mountain, and we've also got Nasal Caverns, which plays an interesting role in the game over mechanic. So when you game over in this game, and you put in the password to go back, it sets you back to the beginning of the level with the same name. So if I were to game over on Flatulent Swamps 4, I'd go back to Flatulent Swamps 1. But in this case, if I were to game over on Nasal Caverns 2, I would actually go back to Nasal Caverns 1 instead of Mucus Mountain 1. So you save a level, but I hope that I won't game over. But you do save a level. Oh, I apologize for my phone.
Oh, it's alright. Mine's gone off already. Do we have another time for another?
We have plenty of time, yes.
Okay. We have $20 from Abomination 1212 with a fun fact for everybody. Chat, are you ready? 60% of people stick boogers on their furniture.
Ah, that's a hot fun fact. That is a spicy fun fact. Thanks Blake for the 20 and the fun facts. So, interestingly enough, these levels introduce us to these really annoying rock throwers that are going to be, like, plaguing us for the rest of the game. Oh, they are so annoying. But we do some quick dodges back and forth just to be able to get on that platform. Other thing that's interesting is this is one of the games where you can actually keep your momentum running even if you change directions. So I find that to be very interesting. In a lot of games, if you change direction, you can't maintain your momentum. But if you're quick enough on the D-pad, you can actually maintain your momentum moving back and forth, which continues your speed throughout the rest of the run. And I'm gonna abuse some intentional damage here. Ooh, that was not a good jump on my part. But it's okay. We're still alive. Somehow, we're still alive. Alright, I'm gonna grab this checkpoint just in case. Again, we have another very trolly platform with a tiny hitbox. This level also exhibits the first level skip. This game is actually programmed in with a lot of invisible areas for bonuses that the player can get, so that's one of them actually saves us some time in the speedrun overall, is skipping that climbing section.
Fun fact, the other 40% of people stick them on other people's furniture.
Ah, you know what? I can believe it. So, I'm not going to say that I've done it, but, Sorry, Grandma. So, we got a chili pepper in that invisible section, so we're going to take intentional damage here to get rid of it, so I don't accidentally use it. And now we're moving on to our fourth boss. The Deodorant. Probably my favorite name of a boss. So interesting enough, his iframes are when he's going into the ground, so we don't have to worry about those too much. But in addition, there's a lot of RNG in this fight. He does have a set pattern depending on how many animations that he does, but the rocks that fall from the ceiling are all RNG. So the positions that they fall, what they drop, if they drop extra items like that can of beans, and the extra boogers there, all of that is RNG. So I am working currently on getting faster strats for this particular boss, but I haven't found consistent ways to do it yet.
I will say, and I know others in chat have already said this, but the animation in this game is top-notch.
It is absolutely beautiful. So the animators for this game, again, Interplay actually... Oh, rip. Interplay is the people that basically own Boogerman for like the longest time, until they kind of got bought out. And whoever did their animation stuff and the design really did an absolutely phenomenal job. Whew, I almost died. I almost died. That would have been so very sad. So, he's dead. It's gonna be... That's slower than most of my normal runs just because I got hit by a mint. And the mint actually removes your ability to burp. It removes your gas. It's basically Beano. And I couldn't do my super burps and super farts anymore. But we are on the final set of levels here. headed towards our final opponent, which is, of course, Boogermeister. Fun fact about these levels is that they actually don't have any transition screens, so you actually don't have to worry about any of the plunger pickups. Which is great. So I'm going to try to do my best here. And then I have a fun fact for chat about my practice runs earlier. That is pretty amazing. I can't believe it happened. And I'm excited to share it a little bit. So again, basically this level is Boogermeister's Palace. It's called the Pus Palace, and it tests absolutely everything that we've done in the game up to this point. Chain jumps, vine grabs, trampolines, has every enemy type in it, and just like all of the combos that we can possibly do, we're going to want to try to do here to save some time.
Alright, let me know. I have one more donation.
Oh, absolutely, go for it.
Alright, we have $20 from Desert Eagle 417. Thank you so much.
Yo, Deagle, coming in with the 20 doll hairs. Thank you, I appreciate that. Alrighty. I'm actually, you know, I've been lurking in the channel since the start of the marathon, and I'll have to say it's been an absolutely great time for everyone. I think it's just been a lot of fun for chat. The runners have all been excellent. Everyone's been doing a great job. Yeah, we were talking before about the Sonic Spinball Run that just happened a second ago. And about how I was like, oh, this is one of those games that I played as a kid, and I sucked at it, and I never wanted to play it again. But like to see speedruns of it is just absolutely amazing, and you know, a lot of these games, Sonic, you know, growing up was like a childhood hero basically.
Absolutely.
And then, you know, you got my homie Boogerman, and I'm also a huge fan of Rystar. So I'm very, very excited about the Rystar race. For sure. Rystar is a game that I've wanted to get into speedrun-wise for a while now, but just haven't had time with, like, my work schedule. But it's super fun, so I'm very, very excited for that.
Do have the Rystar race, and Rystar is another one of those Sega games where the music and the graphics will just blow you away.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's nothing better than hearing that ping pong sound when you grab something and it's like boing boing all over the place. This is our other major level skip here. Instead of going down all of these platforms, we just actually hold right, and we're able to get past all of those dudes, and it saves you an absolutely massive amount of time. Alright, one more level and then the final boss. Yo, so in these final levels here, again, I just want to say thank you to everyone in chat for hanging out. I would love this game to get more press and just like be exhibited on more platforms in general. It's an absolutely amazing game, and I feel like it's just an obscure gem at this point since the Kickstarter failed for the remake. So... But I just love seeing new people that come into the chat and they're like, oh my god, I remember this game. And I'm like, you're an amazing human being, for sure. Final boss. Boogermeister is literally just an anti-Boogerman. He does the exact same attacks, just in a different way. Oh, cool. No early animation. So if there's early animation, it really messes me up because I can't read his pattern. So I'm glad when he doesn't do that at the beginning. The other thing is, I'm going to see if I can do it here. I'm going to try to get close enough to his hitbox where that he can't actually hurt me. Yeah, we did it. Okay. So the timer's going to stop when he hits the toilet. So, time.
GG.
Woo! That was actually a decent run. Besides a couple of mistakes with deodorant, I'll take it.
Very minor mistakes.
Oh, man.
When he hits the toilet, you're looking at a 27:16 RTA.
27:16, nice. So the world record was 27:11 by me. for the longest time until practice today, in which I got a 2710 and then a 2703 in practice. It was absolutely unreal.
So in the same day, you got world record twice and
Yes.
an amazing marathon.
After screwing up like 8 runs before that, we will take this all day. Some of the fun things I'll show you guys in this credit scene here, because this is one of the games where the credits are playable, is that you have infinite chili pepper. So we never got to use it in game, so let me show it to you now. Chili pepper does these kinds of things to your super burp and your atomic butt blast. And as I was saying, it allows you to fly. So you can do some fun stuff here by flying around the screen. And if there is another Kickstarter for Boogerman, I sign up for voice acting immediately. I would love to be a part of this game. The other thing that's funny is if we go into the restroom, we actually put back on our janitor cosplay, and by hitting the booger flick button, we can actually dust different equipment. So you know, if you're into cleaning stuff, you can do this, and it's great. But thanks to Pancakes for being here with me today. Thanks to everyone in chat. The credits also thank you guys at the end, which is actually awesome. And thanks to the BTP. Thanks to my community for coming out. Thanks to everyone that donated to the charity so far. And I'm really, really excited. I'm excited for the next Blast the Process. I'm hoping to submit this again and maybe some other stuff. And yeah, so thanks to all the people behind the scenes too, that do a lot of work that don't get to be shown on the or aren't shown on the marathon per se. They do a lot of work for the runners, and they make this process absolutely flawless. So
Well, you know what? I'll tell you one. It's our pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for the submission, the run, and the great time. Chat really, really enjoyed the run.
oh, I'm glad. Whew, there it is. There's the credit saying, and thanks to you.
Thanks to everybody. All right, coming up next on Blast the Process 3, you mentioned Rystar.
Yeah, oh yeah.
We have a 3-way Rystar race. Hang tight, listen to the music, and we will be back.